same. So I'm like, all right, they have that one. And I decided to confiscate the other one. There it is. So it actually radiates onto the ceiling and everything. So when it's dark in here, it actually glows the entire place.
Nice. Yeah, your camera just cut out there.
Did my camera just cut? You said my camera just cut out?
Like you are looking like you were made for the Super Nintendo there.
Ooh, that's no good. Hold on. Forehead cam.
Uh-oh. There we go.
How's it looking now?
Give me a second. I'll be over just a minute. Trying to make sure everything's up and running right.
Wow, Discord, you are fucking. Be warned though, within like the first 30 seconds of my system booting up and coming back online, I can still blue screen. It's a scary thought. It's a scary thing, man. All right, cool. But y'all look fucking crystal clear now. That shit was definitely it. Everything looks beautiful now. Oh my god. Yeah, that definitely did their trick. I tell you what.
I'm definitely not turning on the forehead cam. Jesus.
I tell you what. Jeez. Yo, man, I should try out NVIDIA's the eye contact shit. Do you have to pay for that?
No, it's free.
It's in NVIDIA broadcast?
Yeah.
I'm gonna try that shit out.
Bro,
Yo, don't start the show for like another 20 minutes. We gotta wait for
trippy,
I'm gonna download it right
trippy.
now. Yeah.
Dude, we live right now.
We live, baby.
Yeah, we live right now.
What?
Yeah, we're in the starting still screen.
Okay, this is starting soon, man. I thought you were like, we're like live. People see my face, just like. When did you put these show notes out, man? Oh, 2 minutes ago. Duh.
I mean, it's nothing major, but I mean, we definitely need Grizz to pop around for the number 3.
Because what Solid said he wasn't gonna be able to make it, right?
Yeah.
Damn. Rip.
All right.
I better put him in my phone as actual Solibs.
What, did you not?
No, it's still a phone number, so I was like, "Holy crap, who's this?"
Man, as soon as I got Shelf's number, I put both y'all in.
Well, I got yours in there. I got yours in there as CP, obviously, but I was just like, but freaking Solibs and Grizz, I'm like,
Yeah, Solibs, I hope you go back and you watch this starting soon, so you realize what WoW has done to you.
You've been downgraded to just a number.
Man, I put you in there immediately. I even spell it the way you spell it too, man. It's got the X and the 1 in there too on my phone.
Ooh, that's premium gassage.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you guys ready? Got quiet.
Yep.
Got quiet. Knock off the cheater dust. All right, and here we go. Hello, welcome to Griffcast episode 74, the mature nerdy podcast for immature people. The show where we talk about any and all things nerds, from video games, comic books, movies, computer technology, and or science. I am your host and king neckbeard Griffmore. We've got a couple of people missing today. Grizz will be joining us later. Solips was unable to make it, but we still have CCP, the content caramel prince, and my boy Wild.
You're
You gotta change the name to TCCP.
The content caramel prince, yeah.
It wasn't the Soviet Union's like wasn't that kind of like their thing for like a little time? Like their abbreviation was, or was it CCP?
You're not thinking of CCTV, are you? Because that's just closed caption television, which is still a thing.
I feel like the Soviet Union at some point it was like on the side of like their space capsules and stuff. It was like TCCP or something like CCP, like that.
I don't remember. That's not taught in my history.
Damn, I'm gonna have to look it up too, man, because it's gonna be burning a hole in my thought. Burning a hole in my brain of thought. Brain thought.
Hey, have you guys seen
continue the show?
Brain meltdown.
Hey, I haven't had a chance to look into it yet, but apparently the Voyagers are still sending back stuff from like outside the solar system. Yes. Do you want to talk about this? Because I have done some research on the Voyagers, and it's awesome. It's really fucking cool. You're gonna make me cry right now. You're gonna make me cry just talking about this kind of stuff. So I haven't been able to look into it. Like I just saw some recent posts, but you know, I was getting the show ready. It was either Voyager 1 or Voyager 2. They had to reboot. I think they felt like they had to like send a reboot because it's like its telemetry was like a little bit off, but they sent a reboot to it, and it was, you know, I think it came back fine. Or maybe I'm thinking about a different spacecraft that like they had like some communication issues with. But yeah, the Voyagers are still rocking and rolling. They did not expect them either one to last this long. Yeah, but I mean, they were launched in 77, 78. Yes. It's definitely the late 70s. And then. So these things, you know, these satellites have been going for a hot minute, and they're still coming back with extremely great intel. They are way the fuck out there, too. They are considered to be in actual interstellar space, for they are believed to have left the gravitational influence of the sun in our entire solar system. So yeah, they're free floating now. They're out there. Yeah, they're free floating now. And
they can still communicate with that bad boy?
It takes a minute though. It takes some time. It takes some time to send them radio waves back.
Yeah, because we talked about that before. It was like episode like 30 or something like that, where the Voyagers actually broke out of our solar system.
I think Voyager 2 is probably the one that's further away.
It is.
I want to say, yeah, Voyager 2 is the one that's a little bit farther. That one broke out. When that one broke out, it broke out in like, I want to say like 2014. And then Voyager 1 was like a year or two behind that. And yeah, man, some cool stuff. I was actually watching, you know, it was just like a little quick Facebook reel, just like showed their like entire trajectory of both spacecraft and like how they got out.
Yeah.
And which planets they visited and so on and so forth, and it was really cool.
Yeah. And some of the like they were able to confirm all the ice on Europa and things like that. So yeah, I mean, just absolutely crazy stuff.
Yeah, they were targeting the larger outer planets, and then, you know, the Miss Pluto. I think I was thinking about, was it New Horizons? I think I'm thinking about New Horizons started acting funny, and they're still trying to get some data from that. And I think that's the one that's near Pluto.
Okay. They launched that one in, gosh, when was that? Like 92?
You're talking about the launch? No, they didn't launch it in 92. When did it hit Pluto? It hit Pluto like in 2018, 2017, but it took like 9 years to get there. It took a fucking minute.
Okay. That's a newer one.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like we should probably revisit the Voyager program at this point in time and see if we can't just make any improvements on
we should revisit a lot of shit. I forgot the program I was looking into. It's a Russian program. I forgot the name of it, but they were sending probes to Venus, and it's still exciting because, like, you know, they had a lander land on Venus for like, they had a couple and they lasted like all about like 3 seconds because Venus is fucked up. Venus is a fucking scary ass planet.
Yeah, that one's what, covered in weather and negative 200 degrees or something like that.
No, it's a lot
Venus
hotter.
is closer. Venus is at like 200 degrees.
So Venus is the second planet from the sun.
Yeah.
Mercury is like a shit ton closer, but Venus is hotter. Venus is like running at almost like 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. It's like 900. It's like 900 degrees Fahrenheit. It rains like there's sulfuric acid all over the place.
No, doesn't it like rain sulfuric acid?
Yeah. It's just like it is like hell. I'm pretty sure like if you live a bad life and you fuck up and then it ends, you're going to Venus.
Dang.
It's not great. So like that's why the landers like they sent plenty of probes there, but each one only lasts like I think they said it lasted like 15 seconds tops. Like it landed, it took a picture, and then it was gone.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it's really cool. Like I mean, I was looking like at some of the pictures, and it's really cool. But yeah, it is not a friendly environment, and there's not a lot of technology that can survive its atmosphere.
Man.
I think the pressure is pretty intense too. It's
technology we haven't made yet. Yep.
Yeah,
So
the planet rotates in reverse. They don't consider the planet to rotate in reverse. All scientists consider all the planets to rotate the same way. I guess what is it to the east? Yeah, rotating to the east, which is like right. So scientists consider them all to rotate the same way. Whereas as Earth is on a tilt of like 23 degrees, they consider Venus to be on a tilt of like 180 degrees. So they just think that it's just upside down. It still rotates right. It's just upside down. The same. I think the same is true with Uranus. They say like Uranus is on like it's like 120 degrees tilt. It's not quite upside down. It's kind of like one of those. Whereas Venus is just
and it's also one of those things like if you actually look at a legitimate model of our solar system, of the solar system itself, it's actually kind of freaky because everybody always expects that that nice peaceful thing that you get at like the third grade science fair. It's not that.
It's decent because I'm trying to figure out where you're going with it, but continue. I'm sorry.
All right, so just imagine putting that on its side, and then the sun is skyrocketing through space at a breakneck speed, quite literally, and all the planets are just flowing in its wake.
Yes, I have seen that, and like you're like they have videos of it, and like it shows like kind of like the trail or like what is it, like the wind tunnel trail or whatever, like behind the planets, and like the sun is just like fucking hauling ass, and everything's just spinning around it, and it just leaves this beautiful spiral behind it.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, because
I thought you're talking about because how people are like, oh, we talk about like how the planets are like, I guess kind of like align or whatever. And people are like, oh no, the planets don't align, but they actually are in the same fucking plane. They like, if you were to look at the sun as being stationary and then how the planets rotate around it, they are all within this very thin plane of rotating around it, and it's really fucking creepy. I guess that's also part of the reason why they don't believe that planet is Pluto is not a planet anymore, because Pluto is Pluto's still a planet in my opinion. I grew up that way.
Exactly.
OG as fuck. But his orbit is really
it's way out there,
off balance, off tilt.
Yeah, it's been hit one too many times and can't quite function with the rest of them.
He's got a lazy eye. He's got a lazy eye for sure.
We're going places, and heaven ain't one of them.
Like that. My dad's got a lazy eye, and he loves it. I make fun of him about it all the time, and he steers right into it, and he gives me shit back. He's just like,
wait a minute, are you looking at me, or are you looking the same place else? You're not. It doesn't look like you're paying attention.
To him all the time, and he just responded to me like, if you weren't a boat, I could have had a boat. You are a boat, and I'm just like, come on, man.
He's like, hey,
that to me, man.
Pretty much, so you the boat. He's just like, you the reason being why I don't got the boat.
Damn.
Golly.
Damn. Oh, welcome to the show, Grizz. We're still in the intro phase here. We got started to talk about the Voyagers. Voyager 1, Voyager 2.
Grizz, I'm actually sorry. continue with the. We're still talking about. I fucking love space, so we're talking about Voyagers. So I don't want to get off. I don't want to get off the subject, but I'm also having Grizz here because I want to talk about something else too. We'll get there. No.
Right.
Yeah, no, I volunteered with a bunch of like foster dogs and stuff. Needed to go pick a dog up and transport it. So
That's so cute.
Chicago traffic's a pain in the ass.
Mm.
Shit,
I was watching this video today. And it was just a bunch of like fucked up questions. And, like it's like they're entering an America exam, and one of the questions are like, "What state is Chicago in? A state of violence." Correct. Just,
Well, I mean, West and South Chicago, damn right.
Oh man.
It's really funny. You can go online and you can pull it up. Somebody has broken down which gangs own which block of the city.
I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Which I'm sure you can do the same thing in New York. Which families are where?
Yeah.
Same thing in Boston.
Vegas, LA, San Francisco,
Shit, everywhere.
everywhere.
You go onto the West Coast, you see which motorcycle gang has which territory.
Oh, you go to the Midwest, you get the same thing.
Yeah.
Right? There's bands of DHAs going down up and down Missouri.
If you make your way over to like Tennessee and Kentucky, you can see which tornadoes have which alley. Sorry, I just want to throw a little bit of humor in there because it didn't hit everybody the same. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it kind of blew over their heads.
We're good. Last week, I had to dodge like my store route, depending on where the tornadoes were hitting. So
I had like a real moment the other day. I mean, I know tornadoes are a thing and they fuck everything up, but I was just like, I was on a work call. We're just doing like a bunch of extreme programming, and just have a bunch of dudes sitting here working on the same problem. And one guy's just like, yeah, the weather's not great. Got my tornado go bag ready. So, and I was just like, you have a tornado go bag? And he's just like, yeah. I was like, yo, shit just got fucking real for me. That was like a realization right there.
Yeah. It all depends on, where you're at.
Yeah, we have a designated room in this house, so that if the siren goes off, we know where to go.
Yeah. I used to know a family out in Indiana who kept rebuilding a house in the exact same spot. So every 3 years, they got an insurance payout when the tornado hit it.
I thought you were trying to say that, like, they were just really stubborn and they just wanted to live there, but the tornadoes were saying no, and they were just like, actually, they're over there gaming the system.
Yeah, basically. All right, so I'm going to jump into this real quick. So I am going to review Lightfall, the Destiny 2 expansion. If you are looking for gameplay, it is the best the game has been in a hot minute. Story, it fell so hard on its face that it went subterranean.
Well, that's a Bungie thing. They either knock it like sky high, or they like face plant into hell. They don't have a middle ground.
Yeah, it was rough.
Halo 3 is, I think, the best example of that.
So there is going to be some spoiler stuff going on. I'll try not to spoil everything, but there's not a lot to spoil because nothing happened. I mean, the one cool thing is we lost. Like at the end of the expansion, like you lose. Like it's like straight up Infinity Wars. Like you lose.
Was this their last DLC? I feel like
no. They've got one more to finish out this story that they've been building up for like 10 years, and then they have other plans for cool. Other expansions, and they're planning on taking it outside the Soul system potentially.
I see that would be cool. A new playground.
Yeah.
And if I'm being real, I'd like to meet a new species.
Yeah. Because we've had the same 4 since day 1 of Destiny 1. You have
pretty much, yeah.
Hive, Fallen, Elixni, Cabal, and Taken.
Well, think of it this way. I'd like to have another playable race.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because we got the three. You got human, awoken, and exo. And exo is just a human stuff in a robot body. Which still doesn't make sense that's what gets revived when you're... Anyway. Doesn't make sense to me. But anyway.
I always took it as like the Matrix thing. Like, you know, this is how you see yourself. So this is it.
That could very well be it. The only thing that bothered me about that is on lore standards, there has to be a physical piece of you to be revived.
See, now that could be...
Yeah, there's a fine line there.
Do you not consider consciousness being converted to circuitry being tangible?
I guess the Traveler does.
I mean, yeah.
Well, no, you're definitely right. Dude, are we about to enter...
But you know what that means to me? That means that they're not immortal. It just means you're not packing enough goddamn firepower.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's totally true. Like, if you throw a Guardian into the sun, they can't be revived because you cannot get to a piece of them. Like, if you find a finger, you can fully revive a Guardian. But if you can't find anything, you can't revive them. Which is funny because how Shax used to go train new Titans was he would take them and throw them off cliffs. So they get used to dying.
I mean, if you're liquid, that's still like a physical state.
It's still a physical state. So you could be revived from liquid. But
that's
anyway.
not how I want to learn to fly, man. I mean,
what are you talking about? They do it with birds all the time. It works out.
Oh yeah, like if you hit the ground, I guess he ain't ready.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I watched the Super Sons animated movie, and like Damien kept pushing John off everything, trying to get him to fly, and it didn't work. But no, that's not me.
So things about this expansion. I mean, gameplay wise, fantastic. I decided to change my main this season. I've been telling everybody I'm going to switch to Warlock as my main for a couple of years now. I was like, finally did it. Switched to Warlock as my main. If I had stayed my Titan going through the story, I might have quit. I hate the intro setup of the new subclass for Titan. It is not good. It is so difficult to play as. I
didn't like the ice for the Titan. Like, I hated that.
See, I loved it for that, but once I got everything unlocked, and then Strand, kind of same thing. You have to get shit unlocked. You have to get specific exotics, and then it works.
Yeah.
The problem is that you have to beat the campaign on legendary mode, which I did on my Warlock. I just haven't decided to put that kind of time into my Titan. Warlock though is an absolute monster. Like, I am having a blast with it, and apparently there's a build on your Hunter where you can have 30-second supers. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, I had a exotic that let me do that. So,
yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. And then
it just required that I be able to dip and roll near somebody a bunch of times.
Yeah, and then you have to make the choice when you're coming up with your build for Strand, which is the new subclass, of either A, being able to traverse the terrain faster with the grappling hook, or B, choosing one of the other two grenades to actually support your build.
Huh.
So it's, hey, do I go for mobility or do I go for something that's actually going to help me and my team?
Well, that's going to depend too, because if you're a hunter, oh my God, you know, like a triple jump and a grappling hook, you don't need a fucking grenade.
Yeah. I mean, there's things to do with that. It's just, and I think the hunter is the only one that can get the grapple hook cooldown to like less than 10 seconds.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So
why don't you just let them fly? Like, can we just let them hover at this point? Because they're not going to touch the ground if they're smart at this point.
We'll find out. But storyline wise, it opens up. So leading up to this point in the story, Osiris is having visions of his time when he was possessed by Savathun, which is the big bad of the last expansion. And he has visions of a thing that's happening on Neptune. And at the end of the last season, like, the big war mind goes, hey, by the way, Osiris is right. There is something on Neptune. You should probably go check it out. And then they're like, so, then the Black Fleet arrives on Earth and it starts fucking shit up. And Osiris decides to hitchhike on the back of a Cabal ship to go to Neptune. And we tag along with him. And the whole time is basically Osiris yelling at us for being too slow while he can't do anything at all because he's ghostless. He's powerless, lightless, ghostless. So, and he's yelling at us because we're being too slow. Then you get there, you kill a bunch of Cabal who have converted to the dark side, and then you meet the Cloud Striders. There's two of them. Yeah.
What is the dark side of the Cabal? Because
you play the game, it'll make a little more sense.
Okay.
But
I mean, that would be like telling me that the Mongols have turned to the dark side. I'm like, what else can they do?
Yeah, that's basically it. And then you meet the two Cloud Striders, who are supposed to be the people who walk you through this whole campaign, basically. One of them is the old rugged type, and the other one is a rookie who just became a Cloud Strider in the recent past. Now, the problem with this is that Cloud Striders only live for 10 years. So the old guy has been a Cloud Strider for 9, so instantly he's going to die. The other one, you good? The other one,
2 days to retirement.
Yeah, basically, So instantly, anybody who's watched a buddy cop comedy or buddy cop movie goes, "Oh yeah, he's dying now."
I've seen the beginning of Last Action Hero. I know how this meme goes.
Yeah, and then the other character, you like at first, like the character that they are, you like them at first, and I'm not going to get onto the PC side of it on that one. But you get halfway through the story and the first character dies. He bites the bucket. He makes the big sacrifice play. But you had no interaction with this character whatsoever to even care that he sacrificed himself. You're just like, thanks, bud. I get to continue the story. And the next scene is the other Cloud Strider. You just go to the first Cloud Strider's funeral. The other Cloud Strider is so upset that he can't stay there. He leaves, and not 30 seconds later, he's cracking jokes. And not in a, I use comedy to get over things kind of way. In a, oh yeah, I was upset, but I'm not upset anymore. Just flipped a switch. So this character went from being absolutely upset that he couldn't stay at the funeral of his mentor, or its mentor. Don't want to misgender a fictional character. And then, yeah, so you have no ties to this character that just sacrificed himself. You're forced to attend his funeral to progress the story. And the other character that's supposed to supplant him is a fucking child. And progresses, goes from a likable character to a reasonable character to regressing in age as the story goes on, all the way to basically making fart and dick jokes at the end of the campaign. And not even good ones, toddler style fart and dick jokes. All right. And then you get to the big finale and you lose, and nothing was ever explained at all. All right. So the whole point of this expansion was you had to go to Neptune to stop the Cabal from picking up this thing to get to the big bad. All right. That was your mission. You go there. They've already secured the thing. Your job now is to take the thing back. So you go there, come to find out the whole thing was a trick, and they just needed you in the room with the thing, and you lose. They never explain what the thing is. They never tell you why the thing. It's, know how, why, or what the thing is. And the only explanation of that you get about the thing is your ghost goes, hey, I get traveler vibes from this. That's it.
That's it.
Roll credits.
Oh, wow.
Like, and if it wasn't for one, the aesthetic of Neomuna, which is fantastic. Two, the gameplay and all of the new equipment that you can earn and find. Besides those two things, like, this expansion would be a flop. Like, it is technically a flop according to Steam. It is one of the highest, mostly negative reviewed Destiny expansions.
Highest, most negatively?
Yeah, I didn't properly English that, but we'll go with it.
Well,
Most negatively reviewed.
negative. Well, I mean, you want to consider that to like another game kind of like that, like Dark Tide. If you're trying to play that for a story, you're fucked. I'm going to tell you that right now, because you get a couple of cutscenes as you level, and none of them make sense. You're just like, is there a story here? Did I miss something? Like you think you skipped a cutscene, like you're at that point. But as you're playing, the characters, like the voices you pick, interact with each other during different things. If you do certain things, they just, like a regular RPG, they start talking to each other. So I feel like I know more about that game through that than the actual story. And the way you describe it, I'm like,
it's very, it is similar in that aspect. But the problem is that Destiny's backbone is its story.
Yeah.
And when you charge full price for a filler DLC, there's a problem.
You charge $60 for that? 70?
It was
$49.99.
$49.99 for the expansion.
And then it was $100 with the expansion and
the season pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the deluxe edition one, yeah.
Now, the only benefit to that is if you have the season pass, which doesn't do anything for them because your opening shot has to be good. You can't make a piss poor opening, intro to your expansion. But they are going to, put more story out. They're going to have new things. It's going to come out over the year. I know that.
Yeah.
They got an uphill climb if it's half of what you're describing.
Absolutely. This entire, and they've even come out and said, like, they're like, hey, we hear you. We hear you're disappointed in the story, but trust us, everything's going to make sense. And it's like, you have better come out swinging soon because.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of thought that when you first said it, like, the story was weak or whatever, and they left it at a cliffhanger, like, there's more, like, you lose, like, yeah, they probably won't give you everything right away. And like how you're saying, like, oh, you don't really know what object you're trying to acquire. You just know you're trying to grab said object. I'm sure they'll fill it in. Yeah, maybe have a little faith. There's something wrong with a little bit of drama and trying to,
I am perfectly okay with that, but you have to feed a little bit of the curiosity. There has to be a carrot at the end of the stick. You can't just hit somebody with a stick and expect them to, oh, look, a carrot. There actually has to be a carrot.
Isn't that what it is? You already had my curiosity with the way you described it. You had my curiosity, and I'm like, okay, so what is this actual object?
Thank you for the like.
Well, you're talking about two different kind of people here, though. I mean, you're talking about somebody that's been playing it for a long time and wants something to continue the consistency, and you got somebody that's like, well, that's new. That sounds interesting. So, who are you trying to launch the expansion at?
Fair point.
I mean, honestly, to tell you the truth, like, especially for people that, especially for me, like, the players that played kind of off and on, and especially for the number of anime that, that I've watched, and anybody that watches anime know that they hate filler episodes. Don't give me a little taste. I want the meat and the potatoes. Like, give it to me now.
Sorry, I sometimes enjoy filler episodes.
An episode or two is fine when they have entire seasons.
There's a rare diamond of a good filler episode.
All right, here's this.
I'll do.
Here's an example in that scenario. And when it comes to the Destiny timeline, expansions is the season, and the seasons are the filler. And in this time, the season fell flat, And the filler, they're expecting to fill in the gaps till the next season.
I don't understand why games have seasons. It so fucking blows my mind.
Well, the way that they do it is they have an ongoing story.
Yeah.
And the way that they're able to manufacture it and keep it going is to have consistent content. So that way you play the game for 3 months. So that way they have people coming back consistently to play and get the story, instead of everybody coming in, playing for 3 months and waiting for the next expansion. So they're treating it like an MMO. They're treating it like World of Warcraft. They're treating it like Guild Wars. They're treating it like Final Fantasy 14. They want that MMO identification, so that way when people come into the game, they know they're going to get consistent content. Because Destiny in and of itself is not a one and done game. There's not a single story to follow, beat, and end. The story of this right now is a continuation of the same story that they started with day one of Destiny 1.
Mm-hmm. And that's honestly part of the reason being why I continuously try to come back, is because of the story and everything else along those lines. Now, when you look back at it and you're like, okay, I come back for the story, but then when I hear that the new expansion story fell flat, it doesn't make me want to get it. Because I'm like, well, what's the point in getting it if it fell flat? But you already know in future expansions, you're going to need that to even follow through with the story. So
I'm okay with you unveiling the story as the DLC as it goes, but it has to be consistently good. Yeah. If I'm going to pay for it, the expansion has to be good and all the DLC has to be good, and I'll give you my money. I'm cool with it. But you got to uphold your side of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hold my end and pay for it if you hold up your end and give me good story.
Don't give me such content that I can get it in 5 minutes on a YouTube video.
Well, that's why I buy a bunch of DLC for the $2 and $3 DLC for these games like Payday and stuff like that, because I spend $3, I have tons of fun with shit. Who's it hurting? Yeah. And they made something I like. I paid them a little bit. Everybody's happy.
Yeah. And in this, I bought the digital deluxe edition because I knew I was going to play it. I knew I was going to come in and I was going to buy every season. So I may as well save $20, spend the $100 up front. And then I come into it and go, did I just waste $100? Because a lot of people see that price tag. So that's another thing for the whole MMO identification of the game. Everybody sees $100 for this. It's actually it's still cheaper than most MMOs. Most MMOs still charge $15 to $20 a month. So you spend $100, you're spending $30 to $40 less for Destiny than you are for a standard MMO. Yep. But here's the difference. I see that grossness that TCP's got going on there.
Oh, could you? I didn't know I was doing it.
Yeah, you're doing good. You're doing good. It was believable. It was believable. It was believable. Here's the difference, though. For someone like me, I'll spend that $100, and that's all I spend all year long on gaming, because I'm going to be playing that game nearly all year long. I'm not going to buy 4, 5, 6, 7 games, because I'm still playing that one game.
Well, see, that to me is the reason for Game Pass. I can dip in, check a game out, dip out. But some of the problem with that is some of the Game Pass games are like, oh, here's your multiplayer. Okay, cool. How do I play the fucking game? Where's the tutorial?
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I want you to dive into that a lot more.
Battlefield 2042. I didn't know what to. I'm standing there like, what button do I hit?
That doesn't. You can't put that on Game Pass and their multiplayer games just because that one game was fucked up.
That is kind of.
Let me try. What about Wulong? I just played that shit the other day.
That's what I wanted to talk to you about. Oh God, Wulong is just.
Okay, it looks good. It is a very good. If you like
shit out of me, you did not just say that to me. Did you just say that? Did you just say that it looks good? Did you just say that it? Are you playing it on PC?
Yeah.
Are you playing it on? Yeah, you did not just. I will let you finish.
Yeah. The problem is that there's some kind of a bug in there where this motherfucker is about as stable. I don't know, as Jeffrey Epstein on mescaline. I don't know what to tell you. This thing is just like this whole game depends on the parry system, right? So you're supposed to parry something, but if something is supposed to charge you, a blade of fucking grass can stutter the charge and fuck the whole timing up, and your parry has to be
perfect. Your parry has to be fucking perfect.
Now, I can hit him all day. I can dunk on him all day, but you can't do that.
Their parry. I would say their parry window is actually pretty large. For most Soul-like games that I've seen, their parry window is actually decently large, and it's very easy to parry.
It depends on the attack, though. Like, some of them are like, you have to do it now.
Right.
Like the flashing big ones, the red ones, yeah.
Yeah. And that does kind of just piss me off, because sometimes they vary in speed. Like, they'll flash red, and then it will be like another 5 seconds until they unleash the attack, and then that's when you parry.
Well, see, I know this red,
and then they'll immediately attack you, and I'm just like, where the fuck is? Okay, so that I get your point, but yes, and that's why this game is getting fucking railed everywhere, because I understand when you port a game and like it's a bad PC port. Yeah.
Like, they want you to fucking block and shit with the tab button.
No, because so they have guard and then they have deflect. So parry is not the same as guard, and that really fucking freaked me the fuck out. So yeah, like, parry and dodge are the same button. But I mean, I kind of like it because like if you miss the parry, so like if they do the attack, like I was saying, like sometimes like it's delayed. Like sometimes they'll start the attack, but they won't do it immediately, and like it takes them and they'll flash red, and it'll take them a couple seconds to like actually unleash the attack. So then you'll kind of do like the parry, but so you can just smash. You can just smash B. You're like, oh, I didn't mean to parry, I just meant to dodge, and then you end up parrying. And
yeah, but they're not interchangeable though. So if the system fucks up your input and it decides, oh, you wanted to dodge, not parry, because
it happened to me where I was just smashing B to dodge, and he just ends up parrying, and I'm like, all right, cool, good to go. I can survive with this.
Well, I've had a bunch of times where it's like, oh, I'm going to go ahead and parry, and I hit it, and instead of like, oh, I'm going to parry, he'll just go, and just get clubbed.
He'll just stand there and get clubbed. So like the stuttering issue for that game is very bad. So like I've been able to deal with PC ports, or, with ports in the past. Like I understand the stuttering. I'm like, okay, they'll probably fix it at some point. But this is one time where it's actually detrimental to you because it stutters and it is not fluid. Even when I'm standing still, I can still see the stutters.
A stuttering game is fine if it's a beat 'em up, if it's not a precision game.
Yes.
If a precision game, you cannot have stuttering this bad. On one side, maybe, but when your character does it and your opponent does it, it's a deal breaker.
It is just horrible. Like I got to the final boss and I just wanted to get to him, and then like I defeated him, and then of course he leveled up, and then he just like the stuttering issue just smacked me. I was like, I'm done here, man. I can't do this. I wanted to fight through, and it's like actually for like being a Souls-like game, if they had fixed it, like this would be actually a Souls-like game that I could actually get through, and I like it. It's a good game and it has good gameplay, but the stuttering issue is really fucking it up.
Yeah, well, and see, even with that, like when I got to the first dude, the General Man guy, it took me like he kicked my ass the first time, I beat his ass the second time, and then I got this close to killing him the second, or like on the first try, like finishing the second for him, and I'm like, oh, okay. And that's when I noticed the stuttering. And I was like, whoa.
You noticed it? Oh, I noticed it way before. Like, even before I even started playing, I was just like...
I was janking this motherfucker left, right, and center. And that's when I started... I'm like, I know I parried that. Like, I know I parried those last two attacks. What the fuck happened? So then I just started messing with him.
You had no idea how many I was doing that. I'm sitting there, and, like, he was unleashing, like, continuous attacks. I'm like, no, I'm hitting that fucking parry. I'm doing that fucking perfect. There's no way. I know the timing of this game now. I already know the timing of the game, and I know I'm hitting this parry. Fucking perfect, but he's still getting me. I'm like, this is bullshit. There's no fucking way, dude. I noticed the stuttering before I even, like, as soon as I loaded up into the game, I'm sitting like, I have my FPS counter, and it's like you're at 120 frames. I'm like, no, this is 40 frames. There's no way.
So,
and it's just
all right. So don't install Wolong on your PC, huh?
do not install Wulong.
Right.
And like, if go check the Steam reviews, they are fucking slim. Like, I understand, like they did this kind of stuff for like Callisto Protocol. Callisto Protocol wasn't a great game, but like the stuttering had no impact on the actual gameplay. So I actually liked the Callisto Protocol. So it was good. The gameplay was bad. I mean, yes, it definitely wasn't Dead Space, and you can tell that they were trying to like force it to be Dead Space. And it didn't live up there, especially after the Dead Space remake came out.
This is unfortunate because this is a technical issue that affects you specifically on your genre. You cannot make a Souls genre with a stuttering issue. You can make a turn-based RPG. If you've got a stuttering issue, it's annoying, but you can patch it in. Nobody's going to give a shit. You cannot have a precision problem in a precision game. It would be like platforms that suddenly just don't spawn. Like you can't have Nathan Drake not grab a wall. So that's a big patch.
Yes, and it's not great. But I mean, I liked other things, like even playing it and trying to deal with stuttering.
I think it looked good. I like the style.
Yeah, but this is a Souls game I could try to get through.
Yeah,
I really liked what they did with their stamina system. Like at first I didn't even think there was a stamina system, but I started recognizing it earlier. I'm like, yes, so you have like negative stamina, and then you also have positive stamina. So like as long as you're like doing attacks and you're connecting your strikes, you're building positive stamina so that you can have more stamina to use. If you're not hitting your strikes or you're just dodging and
it gives kind of a rhythm. It's not just I'm just going to sit here and turtle. Like you actually have to like you have to interchange a little bit. I don't like that.
And that's what I hated about Souls games, and like that's always like the one thing that actually turned me off about Souls games is just their stamina system. Like no matter what I do, no matter how much I do it, I'm going to run out of stamina. I don't get rewarded for being good with my stamina. Either my stamina is full or my stamina is depleted, and then I can't do anything at all.
Even the AI programming here, you can tell it's different because it encourages you to come in and beat its ass a little bit. Like it's not always on the offensive. It'll take a little bit of stagger. Like there's some give and take, which I really liked about the game. So like the rhythm, I enjoyed. I'm like you. I could beat this Souls game and enjoy it, but they got to fix it first, man. Like that's the
stuttering is really the only thing. Yeah,
I would go so far as to say if they will fix this stuttering issue and clean it up, I might actually buy it.
Yeah, I mean, I was here like a couple months ago, and like I wanted to say like you can't give a game negative reviews just because it stutters a little bit. You got to give a game a review over its gameplay, its actual like graphics, its story. Don't give it like 1 stars just because it stutters here and there, and like it occasionally breaks your frames.
Okay,
so, like, you're not gonna.
Let's on that aspect.
Go back to basics. Like when you were in the arcade as a kid, like if you knew that like the left side Pac-Man controller didn't work right, you didn't put the quarter in the left side. You put it in the right.
So all right, so let's revisit this here. Do we need to start reviewing games on different merits, like gameplay, story? Like, does this need to be a thing now?
I mean, it needs to be a whole bunch of things, and it's so weird, man.
Well, a different genre has different weights. I mean, like, nobody's going to give a shit about the story in a shooter, right? But everybody's going to give a shit about a story in an RPG.
Like, well, the story in an RPG is what carries you.
Right.
Like, after a certain point, the gameplay gets repetitive in 99% of all RPGs.
Right. So if you fuck up let's say you fuck up gunplay in an RPG. Okay. If the story's good, people might suffer through it. I will argue that the only good thing about BioShock Infinite is the gunplay or the story, not the gunplay. But that's a me thing. And I still played through it. I still went through the whole game. I just want to see the end of the fucking story.
I'm gonna fight you. I was fucking in love. I was in love with Elizabeth at the end. I have never talked to like an NPC as much as I did. Like just randomly, like I'm sitting in combat. I'm like, I don't have any ammo. She's like, here, I found you some ammo. I was like, bitch, I fucking love you.
Well, that was the most useful companion ever.
She was so useful. She was great, and she was just gorgeous to look at. Those big blue eyes. I was just like.
But my complaint isn't the characters. My complaint is shooting the guns, because shooting the guns was like, fuck, I gotta aim this fucking cannon and pray that the wind is right.
I don't remember any of that. It's been a while since I played Infinite. I need to revisit that. But like,
all right. So,
God damn it, I was in love with BioShock Infinite when it came out, man. I feel targeted right now. I was in love with that game. That game was so good, and Elizabeth, like her Anyway, yeah, you want to move on? Let's go.
Yeah, so,
I'm sorry, because we're talking about my romanticism over some digital character.
You're about 5 episodes late on this one here, buddy.
Did we not? Yeah, I guess we didn't. Yeah, we didn't talk about it. I talked about Sheva though.
So all in all, for me, like Lightfall, story wise, I give it a 2 out of 10. Gameplay wise, I'll give it an 8 out of 10. It is quite literally the best the gameplay has been in a long time. They're already running into issues where they dropped the new exotic weapon and they've shut it off because it's too powerful. And in-game content. So like, there's certain things like if you walk into a dungeon or a raid, they're like, yeah, no, this doesn't work anymore. All right. So something funny I thought was kind of humorous. So Forspoken has underperformed so much that it has shut down the studio that made it. The Square-enix shut down the studio that made it.
I think that's really fucking funny because like they're kind of like their own studio at the screen. So it's like, hey, we're gonna buy y'all, and good luck. Get the fuck out of here. Somebody to buy the studio back, and it said, "Fuck you, get the shit out of here."
Yeah, that was rough.
Square-enix in itself is trying to get bought, and they go ahead and buy a studio that kind of broke off with them and use like some of their proprietary software to build their game, and then was like, "Yeah, get the fuck out of here, go away."
Like they had one shot with Forspoken and they dropped it.
I always feel bad because I put a ton of hours in that game. It was one of my games. It was like one of those games that's, it was like in my niche. It's just open world, third person. You just go around and do whatever the fuck you want to do. As soon as I had all the
online discourse to that game was insane. Because people were always talking like, it's going to be so good. What's it going to be the fuck about? All I know is that there's a chick with sneakers.
A chick with sneakers.
Dang.
And welcome to the story.
It's a game with a chick wearing Jordans. That's all I fucking know at this point.
That's so funny that you mentioned the sneakers because like that was like they made it like a big thing at some point in the game. Like even though like she's wearing like these, I guess American street clothes. Like at some like and she's like in these medieval fucking Farland fantasy world. She modified her clothes to kind of like fit in, and someone was just like, hey, if you get rid of the shoes, you look like you were one of us. And she's like, I'm not getting rid of the shoes. And I'm just like, okay.
You know what? I mean, anybody who wears
she's
Jordans...
still wearing jeans. Yeah, she's still wearing jeans, and all she really did is just take her flannel and just like wrap it around her waist. And I was like, you fit in now, as they're still wearing like fucking full-on like Oktoberfest medieval type shit, and I'm like, she's still in jeans, Converse, and a fucking. She's just got on a black tee and some.
But Seattle is not the look of the gentry from the medieval period. Like the dude who tilled the field did not wear flannel and listen to Kurt Cobain. It didn't happen.
I put a lot more hours into that game than I should have. I feel bad, but
yeah, well, you like that games. So.
I need to. I spent $70. It's one of those PC games. Even I hate that games are doing that now.
You don't want to admit that you shouldn't have spent the money, so you just keep playing.
I had nothing.
I gotta get my money's worth.
I
didn't hate it at the time. It was the same thing as Cyberpunk. I didn't hate it at the time I was playing it and put a shitload of hours into it, and I was like, you know what? I should not have done that.
Yeah. Of all the games I've bitched about the last couple of years, I actually went back and replayed Cyberpunk. So, I mean, if that tells you anything about it. All right. So, once again, we are nearing time about a conversation that we started last week that we stopped to postpone to this week because we ran out of time last week.
Let's do it.
And by the way, we've gone through 2 topics that I had planned already.
I see a lot of topics, so like, I mean, well, the Destiny thing was you, and then I started drinking out the other topics because I wanted to talk about stuff. I mean,
I mean, we started talking about how we should weigh, things, and I'm sitting here going, if Wild is sitting here going, you know what I love about Fortnite is the story, I'm gonna call somebody and get you checked on. I'm gonna go there.
The first thing I'm calling is a SWAT team to come raid that fucking house.
Oh no, definitely. So definitely don't follow Fortnite for the story. That's an absolute thing. Like,
Fortnite has a story. It's like
it barely a story.
Like it has its own universe. Like
they would have these events. Like you could you join for like these meteor events or whatever. I'm like, how am I joining for like these events? Like, am I like? Do I go into the game and like there's these events like that I can watch, but like at the same time I watch it, some dude's gonna shoot me in the fucking back for being a little bitch, and now I gotta like back in and I miss it.
Oh
like,
no!
I don't know what's going on. What's going on?
Like when they had the whole Dragon Ball thing going on, you literally there was like a section where you could go in and literally watch Dragon Ball episodes, and one dude literally was in there for hours just watching nothing but Dragon Ball episodes. And
you can't kill or be killed and like have to respawn and just lose it.
Yeah, you can't kill or be killed or anything. But what I do now is because I'm like, you know what? Hey, if there's a way for me to get like all of like some of the like the dances or like some of the outfits, like that for me is where it's at for me right now. Like trying to do like a whole story is I'm not for it. And then they also did bring back the crossbows, which I'm absolutely loving because I love a crossbow kill. Like across the map with a bow and arrow to the face is you gotta have some superb aim.
I'm having like vanilla WoW aim shot flashbacks. Just why did I die? There's a hunter way the fuck over there.
I'm that hunter. I'm like sitting there aiming, like testing. If I go over 2.5 degrees, down 3.5. Oh yeah, I was that one. I love cross map shots.
Element down. Pull no punches. Anyway, in continuation of our conversation last week, AI and your gaming. So, do we remember where we were taking this? Because we went like 14 different directions.
Well, it kind of ended up more in like the procedural generation part of it, where you'd have like not so much an AI, but like something with at least some moderate intelligent control.
Yeah, like
because a roguelite Souls game could be interesting.
Yeah,
but you would need an AI to be able to handle that level of holy shit.
Wait, did you just say a roguelike Souls game?
Yeah.
Are Souls games not roguelike to begin with?
Well, you think about it, like you play a character, it dies, you play its kid, you have a whole new set of stats with whatever level that previous character made. Now you got to go back in. Think about like what was that game where you played your kid and kept going back into the dungeons?
No idea.
Think about like, and it would change the landscape, so it wouldn't even be like the boss would change. The boss's dungeon would change. Like that's the kind of thing you could do if you had something that could intelligently change things. It's just how would you program that to begin with? You'd have to preset all that. You need to mail them a whole room of computers.
So you have something like that. All right. And then I think the topic I brought up was, would you allow AI to have full control of your gaming if you were guaranteed the absolute best gaming performance you've ever had?
Will it fix Wolong?
If it don't fix that, I might consider it.
I already knew Wolong.
That's what I meant. Like that happens all the time. Like Cyberpunk, Wolong. Like you get all these games that are really good, but somebody busted something. And it's like if you had like this third-party program that can go in there, oh, let me go into Colonial Marines and fix this 2 lines of code and let you be able to play a game that's semi-functional. I don't know. I'd think about it.
See, no, I actually would not like that. I would not like an AI to go and give me the best experience that I want.
Yeah.
Because I also like experiencing different games for their different genres. You know, in their different styles. So
I'm not just talking about that. I'm talking about like, all right, ooh.
I kind of know what you're getting at. So like different genres, different play styles, and like in different things. So I'll give you an example. Sometimes when I play FPS shooters, can't really say that. First person shooters, first person shooters, or even third person shooters. So when Call of Duty came out, Call of Duty started getting mainstream, it kind of set the control basis for all games. Whereas, B circle is melee, or not melee, but crouch. Oh shit!
Crouch.
What do I fucking do now? Yeah, it's crouch.
Yeah.
Because I swap it sometimes.
Reload.
Clicking R3 is is melee. Yeah, crouch.
Well, there's no reason not to. You're just
is
banking on everybody else's muscle memory.
Yeah, so you're breaking everyone's muscle memory. But I actually appreciate games, and sometimes I don't switch their controls just because I want to experience like how they built it. It's still a first-person shooter, but their controls are different. They're not like Call of Duty.
I don't have a problem with that, but like even if with the AI,
but an AI would switch the controls for me.
Yeah, I still want to be able to tinker it myself if I want to. You know what I mean? Like maybe it thinks one thing and I think another, and I want to go no, and just turn that switch. Like I don't want it to have the control where it tells me no. I want it to have the control where it helps me. Does that make sense?
I don't want the control where it helps me. I want the control to where like someone built a game and they had an idea of how they wanted it. They were a director. They had a vision. And I want to experience with a vision. I'm not going to switch the controls just because it's
you want to experience the legitimate
me.
Creativity of the product.
Mm-hmm. So like and like another thing, like playing like oh shit, what was that fucking game? It was a cyberpunk game with the sword, and it was like a one-shot kill.
Ghost Runner.
Oh my god, yes, Ghost Runner. And I'm like, I did switch some of the controls here and there, but like I didn't enjoy. I didn't like have pleasure in myself. I felt like I cheated myself by switching the controls because X wasn't jump, then like right bumper was jump, and so on and so forth. I think I actually like after I downloaded it again, like I played like on the original controls, and I'm just like, just because like I want the controls to be different doesn't mean I should play the game that way. I should play like how it was intended. And like I started forcing myself through a way to do it. And I'm like, I understand why you did it now. I'm like, actually, this kind of works.
Controls don't make a good game. And look at Beyond Human. I mean, you used the bumper sticks to do everything. It was dumb.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, then again, you also have like Ghost of Tsushima, that you go in and it builds up your muscle memory as you go through the game. Like if you get to a late point in the game, walk away for 2 months, come back, you have no idea what you're doing.
I run into
that. Doing that. Like I come to
that all the time. Oh my god! And it's so mentally.
How many times have we restarted a game because we get there and like, oh fuck, I don't know where I am, I don't know what I'm doing. What are these controls? So you start over and you lose 4 and 5 hours. So here, TCP, this is for you. What if that AI can go, hey guy, let me show you your controls, and it'll help you get back into the game, so you don't have to spend 5 fucking hours getting back to the same spot.
The AI doesn't need to show me the controls. I can just go to settings and I can just say controller scheme. And so then I can review the controls and take my own time in doing it. I'm an adult. I know that this feature is there for me. Why don't I just use it?
So let's not talk about controls here. All right. Let's go into a hypothetical situation. All right. Who all's familiar with Ready Player One?
Yes.
The book, not the movie.
No.
I know of it.
Yo, that's funny as fuck. You can't tell me that's not funny as fuck. You can't tell me that's not funny as fuck. Who's familiar with Ready Player One? Yes. No. The book, not the movie. No. You can't tell me that's not funny as fuck.
Okay. So the movie was a horrible rendition of a really good book. All right.
The movie was still very enjoyable. The movie was still very good and enjoyable. It was so much fun. I really enjoyed the movie, but I understand that they butchered the book. I understand that they butchered the book. But the movie was still good. The movie was still good, and it was fun, and it appeals to all audiences, but I understand that they butchered the book.
That was a shot of vinegar for Griff.
This is the difference of somebody who reads the book first and sees the movie first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a difference of expectation. That's all this is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. So let's go into a hypothetical situation. So let's say there is a Game Pass-esque feature where you load in and there is a library of universes for you to jump into. And you know that depending on that, whatever universe you decide to jump into, that an AI is going to give you the absolute best gaming you've had within that genre. Would you go for it? I think I would, personally.
So,
and we're not talking about like virtual reality, deep dive. We're not talking about any of that. We're just talking about you sit down at your computer with a controller or a keyboard, you click on the world you want to go into, and it jumps you in and it starts you off, and you know that you're going to have the time of your life playing that campaign.
No.
Or in another scenario, if you like PvP shooters, you know that every time that you enter into a lobby, it's going to be 100% balanced.
See, now that's a selling point all on its own. Because think about that. Think about every fighting game, every shooter. Like, think about the dude that gets home in Indiana after working a 12-hour shift, like stacking boxes somewhere. He ain't here to get sweaty with a 50 caliber sniper rifle and pick you off from 4 miles off. He's here to have a little fun and blow some frustration. Why the fuck are we going to put the sweaty bitch in the same game with him?
Touche.
Yeah.
Touche. I mean, it's a good point. Look,
but they
will fuck your own profits because Mr. Stack Boxes buys DLC too, and he ain't gonna buy DLC for a game that's just gonna get his ass kicked.
So they're supposed to have that kind of a matchmaking right now, and whether it works or not, no,
skill-based matchmaking don't ever work like it's supposed to.
No,
maybe you're better than you think you are.
Let's say this though. But in a hypothetical situation where an AI controlled it, like a good AI, not a T-1000 or Skynet, but an actual good AI was able to go in and make sure that every player had the best experience they could possibly have. Like you go into, say you loaded up the Call of Duty universe, you go in there and every lobby that you go into in a PvP match, you're guaranteed to be balanced against all other players. There's absolutely no way to possibly cheat because an AI is running all the code.
You had me at not being able to cheat.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like the actual level playing field definitely intrigued me. Like the whole not cheating, absolutely, just flipped the switch for me.
And think about that. Like you're talking about like an anti-cheat that it would be hopefully invasive, and that's the problem now. A lot of these games have anti-cheat that they tank your entire processor. Because it's like, what are you doing? What's going on? What's going on over here? Like, motherfucker, what the hell is wrong? Are you the NSA?
It's a lot of these
either a performance hindrance or like other people find ways around it. That's always going to be the future, even with the AI. But if you have an AI and like you have say like a baseline for anti-cheat, and then people find a way around it, the AI is going to be like, oh, someone found a way around it, so I'm gonna. And it's going to be like it's going to continue
do
like
it
that
on the fly too.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's going to be
that would be a benefit to AI because that's how people do it now. Like they create anti-cheat, but then still someone's going to try to find a way around it. Someone's going to find a way around it and then sell it.
And I would like to point out that we've hit a point, like Grizz is bringing up here. We've hit a point now that they have had to be so invasive with these anti-cheats now that it's basically like they're running Windows Vista. Like,
oh yeah, the anti-cheats run at the kernel level.
If anybody in here has run Hogwarts Legacy, you have seen the amount of anti-cheat bullshit in your backend just because of that game, because the anti-cheat is so thick.
I don't understand why Hogwarts Legacy has anti-cheat. It's a single-player game.
I don't know either.
Now,
because I cheat.
Any game that includes an anti-cheat where your performance is better served by pirating it is negative to the product and shouldn't be included. That is my firm belief.
Yeah, and also like TCP brought up right there, is a single player game shouldn't have an anti-cheat.
I think I know that at some point they do plan to introduce multiplayer, but still, it's
even at that point in time, why bother with anti-cheat? Like unless you
have anti-cheat on somebody's computer, not on the back end.
Well, no, it's not on that, but like unless you're going to have a PvP function, there's no need for anti-cheat.
So could that potentially be that they're gonna eventually do a PvP option?
They could. They have an entire system for it. With their dueling areas, but yeah. So basically, we're all on board. Like, I think I would be, because I do believe like an AI could probably abuse my addiction to loot grinding. So, you know, I would probably be sucked in pretty hard on that. But once again,
I would love to have an AI give me a beat 'em up, because I'm sorry, I love those games. They don't make a lot of good ones anymore. Man, a good beat 'em up.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because I mean, Streets of Rage 4 was the last one that I played that I really liked.
Yeah. I mean, the Shredder's Revenge wasn't bad. But it was short.
It was short, and I've had some problems with the controls in it. But that's a PC thing for me. So
I played with a controller. So I think I had a little bit less issue with it.
It got a little better with the controller, but for some reason, like it seemed like it had a little bit of the stuttering issue through the Game Pass that we were talking about with not nearly as bad, but like every so often I'm like, what the hell?
But yeah. Anyway, so we've kind of come to a conclusion there of, you know, as long as it gives you an absolute 100% balanced gameplay, AI would be cool. If not, we would like to enjoy the current creative limitations of the human mind.
Yeah, but it also depends on which drawbacks come with which benefits. I think that's kind of the deciding factor, because we all know the general drawbacks we're going to get, but what are the specifics? You know,
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to get all this balance. We're going to get, you know, this. You can play any game. It'll generate you a game. It's going to look at everything. It's going to know your passwords. I might have a separate PC for everything else.
Yeah. I mean, in that situation, probably, but also, if we ever hit that point in technology, it knows everything anyway.
Yeah.
Like if we do hit that point in technology where we can go through and do, you know, basically whatever we want in a video game, it's going to know everything about you anyway. Like it's going to know, you know, your internet history, even on private mode.
I mean, they still do now. Incognito mode. Incognito mode just doesn't save your cookies and history. That's it.
Yeah.
Everything else is still logged.
Yeah. I mean, it's even hard to save everything from whatever that thing is called. Anywho, let's go ahead and wrap it up there. We are hour and 12 in, so yeah, we'll go ahead and wrap this up here. Thank you all for coming and watching. We hope you had